we stay informed and true, navigating the rules together.
Hey guys, it's Joel with COREner. Guess what this is? It's episode 5 of Compliance COREner. Today, we have Tony Keller back with us. He has made he's been, all over the roads lately. I've had so many truckers, radio me and say, hey, you guys got to get this guy off the road. He is all over the place. But he's been visiting some customers out there in some different gun shops, and he's seen some things that may help you in regards to the process of selling guns. So I'm going to let him carry it away, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes and close everything out.
Yeah, Joel. While I think you've been watching a little bit too much Smokey and the Bandit. I have been traveling around a lot and visiting some dealers, and I've been noticing some things, and I've seen it from other FFLs I've been in at the past, and just something to bring up. Because a comment that's made to me very commonly, dealers and salesmen will say, what's really frustrating is when a customer fills out a 4473, they fill out their section B and their address is wrong to their ID. And it's really frustrating at that point that we either have to cancel that transaction or have them log back into a computer, and it takes so much time to make them correct it. And then we got to go track down the right documents. And when I get these recordings, I get these questions and I get these comments, I look at them and I says, well, how much work, how much effort, and how many questions, what kind of questions did you ask to verify the eligibility of your purchase and to verify the validity of those documents before you put that customer on that computer, before you logged them in, before you created the sale? And I think this is an important step because there are some very specific things to check to make sure that that gun sale is good to go through. So if you're working with a customer, showing them firearms, and they finally get to that point where they decide, this is the gun I want to buy, the very next question out of my mouth is, can I please see your ID, your state issued ID? And there's some very specific things I'm looking for. First off, when we talk about eligibility for purchase of a firearm, there's age eligibility. So anything that's a handgun or anything that's classified as an other on the 4473, others being receivers, pistol grip firearms, NFA items, you have to be 21 years of age or older and a resident of the state that you're trying to make that purchase in. And then anything long gun at the federal level, 18 years of age and older. And there's some stipulations to allow for out-of-state transfers. Understand, know your state laws. Some state laws are 21 over for everything. Some state laws restrict out-of-state transfers. So you have to make sure you're in compliance with your own state laws where you're selling a gun and also the state laws of where the purchaser actually resides to make sure you're still compliant. But we're just going to talk the general federal stuff. So when I look at that ID, that's the first thing I'm looking for. Does the ID that they're handing me support the residency in the state where I'm selling the gun to meet those requirements? Next thing I'm looking for is that age requirement. Are they old enough to be buying the handgun? Are they, are they underage trying to buy something they're not? And if they don't meet those residency and age requirements, that gun sale for right there is done. That is over. There's no sense in putting in additional work if we can't meet those eligibility requirements. The other things I'm looking at when I look at an ID, obviously I'm going to look at it and look at the expiration date. Is the ID expired? Anything related to the gun sale, if you have an ID that's got an expiration date, make sure that is still valid. We should not be accepting expired IDs for anything. The next thing I'm looking at, obviously, is look at the picture on the ID. The primary ID should have a photo on it of the customer. Make sure it's actually them, okay, because that can come up as well, too. And I asked two distinct questions about the primary ID as well, too. Is this your full legal name? And is this your current residence address? Because that is actually what is required to go on the 4473. And if the answer to those two questions is no, then we're going to have to ask for some additional documentation. So we're allowed within the regs, if the primary ID is not correct, maybe it's just got a middle initial instead of a full middle name as their legal name, or they've moved recently and the address isn't correct and they haven't updated that license or that ID they're giving us, we can collect additional supplemental government issued documentation to verify what their current information is or what their their full legal name is. But that has to be collected and it has to be documented on the 4473. But this is all stuff that can be verified before you get to that point. And if you can't verify it, if they say, well, yes, I've moved, I've lived here, but I don't have anything to prove it, then for all intents and purposes, at that point, that gun sale is over. Now, there may be some things we can do in terms of helping that customer out, of setting something up as a layaway, setting something up as kind of a hold where they make a deposit. At that point, we can make that decision there. But at least at that point, from a sales perspective and trying to help as many customers as you can, especially if you're a high volume dealer, you're not spending that time delving into the 4473 and everything when you know you can't complete the sale. So that's my biggest thing, is ask those questions, vet those customers out, vet those eligibility requirements, and are the IDs good for what's required on that 4473 before you set that sale up, before you log them in to do their 4473 or hand them that paper and pen. Saves you a lot of time in the long run. Okay.
So I know that some people may be looking at their screens right now saying, what? Like, are you serious? You would not believe how many people forget common things that if you don't start out doing them right, to get in the proper habit, you're going to forget one day. Right. So that's what you want to do, is you want to be able to maybe have a checklist. And Tony, maybe we can put together some sort of a checklist. And if we have it, it will be in the description, a link to it, or, maybe we'll write a blog and you can have those steps in the blog, right?
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, you maybe some of you out there may have new employees starting. They're not
Correct.
as knowledgeable as you. They don't know the steps. So
Yep.
It's really good. This is really good, sales 101 that Tony's sharing with us. And Tony, thank you so much.
Not only was sales 101, but again, for that compliance perspective, last session we coasted through 5 deadly sins pretty fast. But if you think about it, age eligibility, verification of IDs, residence eligibility, all of that, you're talking potentially 4 to 6 revocable offenses that you've eliminated with a series of questions before you've ever really done any serious work into actually completing that transfer.
Right. See, that's awesome. And that's why we're here. And that's why we have episode 5 of Compliance Corner. We probably just saved so many businesses out there with these little jewels of information. And Tony is going to, again, he's keeping his ear to the track. He's following and tracking things that are coming down the pipeline. And I know in episode 6, we're going to talk about some other juicy topics. Hey, Tony, let me ask you this real quick, and this may date this video, but I recently saw a proposed piece of legislation. Whoa, sound like the ice cream eater there for a second. I know that there was a piece of legislation where they talked about they were trying to get Lake City Armory to stop selling ammunition to civilians. Have you seen that?
I think that's something that comes up. I've seen come up kind of as a proposed thing every once in a while. I haven't seen it anywhere that's actually passed. But if we start looking at the wish list of the anti-gun community wish list,
Right.
Obviously the restriction, particularly of the steel core ammo being restricting that sale to civilians, has commonly come up in those. But I haven't seen it other than maybe at a state or local level. I haven't seen that come up at a broad stroke, at least passing in any form. Yeah.
I saw it in the news somewhere recently, and I just
I'll have to do some research, see if it's popping up again.
So episode 6, Tony's going to have an update for us on that, or 7 or 8. I don't know. Hey, I might not even be here for 6. You never can tell. Tony could be like, dude, for real, go do your own videos. I've got this. No, seriously. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I will have to do a little bit of editing here because I messed everything up in the beginning. So this video may be a little bit later than usual. Sorry, Tony. But we do look forward to seeing you in episode 6. So make sure you've got the notifications turned on, and you need to click that bell. Click that bell so that you're notified every time we put one of these masterpieces out. Tony, do you have any final words?
So you always hit me, and I told you I was there and I was going to do this. So yeah, here's my final words. Remember, not stabbing someone when you really want to, that is a sign of successful adulting.
That is. So if you get through today, and you have that thought and you can laugh about it. That means you were successful. If you're looking at bars right now, you probably should, maybe get some counseling. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. We can't wait to see you in the next one.
Compliance isn't just a
Thanks, everybody.
race. Welcome to the Compliance Corner, where we stay informed and true, navigating the rules together to keep our freedom shining